Hello and welcome back to the Caim Circle podcast. This is Jessa Francis, and I am so happy to have you here with me today. Today, I have a very interesting episode for you, one that I have been thinking about trying to put together for a while. It is on the topic of metacognition, the art of thinking about your thinking. So I found metacognition quite a few years ago now when I found memoir writing. And it's just another way for me to kind of tie in the power of memoir writing and how significant this practice can be, and helping you get really, really clear on who you are, where you come from, and how your thoughts and feelings are formed throughout your life and through your experiences, and how those experiences are shaping the way you not only behave and act and your daily habits, but the way you think and feel about yourself. So the Caim Circle was created to be a place of sanctuary, a place for you to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel seen, to feel heard. It is where I sit here and I share my stories, I share my insights, I share some of the practices that have helped me, in hopes that they help you journey inward and step into your most authentic self. I'm actually really excited. And if you've been following me, you'll know that I've brought in a few different people here and there to talk about different things with Untoxicated or with the Caim Circle and my membership and things like that. And next week I will be inviting one of my friends on, the beautiful Megan, who is going to be here to help us learn a little bit more about creative expression. However, today's exploration into the realm of metacognition is it's just something that I think is so incredible, and something that I think can really, really help all of us get just a little bit clearer and a little more focused on bringing forth exactly what it is that we want in our life, versus just flowing through life and letting our thoughts kind of run the show. Our mind is a tool, just the way our hand is a tool. we have all of these different tools, and our thoughts do not need to rule our life. We can actually slow down and think about our thinking. So just imagine your mind as like a vast library, right? And metacognition is like that wise librarian who organizes and questions and navigates through the bookshelves of your thoughts. Okay? It's more than just reading the books, it's understanding why you picked up that particular book, and you're considering how that book is going to fit into your own personal library, like the bigger story of your life, right? So metacognition is our ability to observe and regulate our thoughts and our cognitive processes, right? So it's like this powerful skill that we can hone, and it enables us to take a step back and to say, what am I thinking right now and why? It's like holding a mirror up to your mind to gain awareness of how you're processing information, how you're solving problems, or making the different decisions that you're making. So think of it as being like the captain of a ship in stormy water, okay? The waves are your thoughts, sometimes choppy, sometimes calm, and metacognition is your compass. It allows you to steer your ship with intention instead of being tossed aimlessly by the tides of your mind. Okay, so there is there's a role of metacognition in your daily life and the role it can play in your daily life. So here's a little storytelling moment, right? Picture yourself walking through a dense forest, which represents your day full of activities, emotions, interactions. You're walking through this forest and, you're doing these different things. You're talking to these different people and you're feeling these different ways. Without metacognition, it's easy to get lost in the thicket, tripping over roots of doubt or being caught up in vines of stress. But whenever you achieve your metacognitive awareness, it's like holding a lantern that casts light on your path. And it helps you navigate with clarity and helps you make conscious choices. So there's a few different ways to get started here, some practical applications to getting started for yourself with metacognition. So number one is mindful problem solving, right? So ask yourself, the next time you're faced with a challenge at work or home, I want you to pause and ask yourself, how am I approaching this problem? What assumptions am I making? It's like stepping outside of yourself to evaluate your strategy, right? Ensuring you're not just reacting, but responding thoughtfully. All right. I remember when I was a little girl, my mom was, and if you've listened to some of my earlier episodes, I talked about how my mom started reading all these self-help books. I can't remember the exact episode, but if you go back in the podcast, you'll find um, 150 self-help books is some part of the title. But I was talking about how my mother read all these self-help books anyhow, and their impact on me. And one of the things that she talked to me about was how she wanted me to kind of pull myself out of my life and see my life from like the bird's eye view, or as if I was like the director or producer of my life and it was a movie. And I was able to kind of see my life and myself as this character in my own story. And I think that's one of the ways that it really got started for me even earlier on, before I found memoir writing and actually put pen to paper. I started being able to kind of look down at my problems and look down on my situation and start thinking of, more with a curious lens of evaluating the way that I was behaving, the way I was reacting to certain situations, right? And so that's what this is. This is mindful problem solving. How am I approaching these problems? What assumptions am I making? Am I opening up my mind to a different way of seeing things, right? And so that is one of the first best ways to get started in this. And then the second would be emotional regulation. So when emotions surge, such as anger, anxiety, stress, frustration, right? Metacognition allows you to be the observer, right? Rather than the participant. You're stepping out of like your role as like this reactive human and kind of seeing how you're behaving and seeing your feelings from outside. It's akin to watching a storm through a window instead of standing in the rain, right? You can acknowledge the intensity of it without being swept away by it, right? And so to do that, we obviously, we need to be in the seat of the witness. We need to kind of see ourselves and how we're behaving, and see all of the emotions, like be aware of the emotions. Okay, I'm sad, or I'm angry, or I'm frustrated. There are my emotions. And I can observe those emotions without letting, and I can actually, process them without letting them control me, right? And then 3, enhancing your learning. Okay, so students, or any sort of, like myself, a lifelong learner, can harness metacognition by thinking about their learning processes, right? I'm constantly learning new things and actually thinking about the best way for me to learn. It's like being a gardener who doesn't just plant seeds, but also reflects on how best to water and nourish those plants for optimal growth. Right? Because every different thing needs a different thing, right? Some plants need more water, some need less, some need more fertilizer, some need more sun, some need more shade, and paying attention to what our real needs are versus which means we have to get down to, the root cause of these things. And that's what memoir writing allows us to do even more. It's the shadow work. And if you haven't listened to last week's podcast, go ahead and go listen to that, because it's all about shadow work. And that will give you an even deeper understanding of the importance of us being able to kind of figure out where all of the turmoil is even stemming from, right? So next would be the ability to cultivate metacognition, right? So we've talked about how we could do it, the role it could play in your daily life, but how do we actually cultivate this, right? And so, one, there's reflective journaling. This is this is an amazing opportunity. And if you would like, I actually have a journaling 101 masterclass that talks about the do's and don'ts of journaling, all the different kinds of journaling that are out there. So it's taking a dedicated amount of time every day. It can just be 5 to 10 minutes. It can be at the beginning of your day. I kind of recommend the reflective journaling. Do intention setting journaling at the beginning of your day, and then reflective journaling at the end of your day. And all you're doing is you're going to write down your thoughts, reflect on how you approached your different challenges throughout the day, right? How you processed different emotions, how you made decisions, just kind of reflecting on your day, right? And you can do this the next morning, but like I said, I kind of recommend setting yourself like an intention in the morning. This is what I want to achieve today. And then a reflective journaling at the end of the day. And this practice is really going to help you build awareness and make that invisible visible, right? Because so often we're just so caught up in our life because of the influx of all these different emotions that we're not even aware, and we're so disconnected because we're so busy all the time. So I like to think of it like cleaning a window to see more clearly through it, right? Reflective journaling is like polishing your perspective, allowing you to see your mind's workings with greater transparency, right? And then, of course, there's mindfulness and meditation, which, once again, I'm just going to plug the Caim Circle in here. The membership has all kinds of mindfulness practices. It's got all the different meditations. It's got yoga, all the things, right? But this one's really powerful. Engaging in mindfulness practices, and there's so many of them, but just breathing, right? Such as focusing on your breath, right? Just slowing down enough to do what I call conscious breathing. So we can do it right now. Just take a moment to settle yourself into the body. Take a breath and feel the breath as it comes in and down into your body. Feel your chest expand. And now let that out slow and count it out. We have control of our breath, and therefore we have control of so much more because we have control of our breath. We can actually regulate our own nervous systems. This powerful, powerful, powerful tool of being able to notice your own breath. So focusing on your breath, or you can do a body scan, right? You can just start at your toes or start at the top of your head, whatever works. And you can just foster a deeper sense of metacognition right there, because you are taking control of your thoughts, right? You're taking control of your thoughts to do a specific kind of breathing, or you're taking control of your thoughts to do that body scan. It's like zooming out on a map, right? Helping you see the entire landscape of your thoughts rather than being stuck on just one winding road, right? So pulling yourself out, seeing that big picture. And then practice 3, and this is a big one, self-dialogue, right? Asking yourself certain questions. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? These questions are just gentle nudges to encourage that metacognitive approach to your daily life. And so that's really what I wanted to dive into today, metacognition, because it really is, it's more than a tool. Like I said, we have a hand, we have a brain, we have our eyesight, we have our hearing, we have all these senses, and they're all beautiful gifts. And metacognition is a gift. It gives us the power to live with awareness and intention. It helps us shape our responses to our life experiences and to cultivate resilience to them. Right? This is self-mastery. This is you taking control of your life. This is you being able to move with intention, awareness, authenticity, your own sense of power, right? You are shaping your own responses rather than being controlled by your life experiences. You're shaping your responses to those life experiences. So, I would just invite you, my darling listeners, to take a moment after this episode and to practice this, right? Observe your thoughts as you would the clouds, right? Let them drift. Try to understand and see their different shapes. Decide which ones are worth holding on to. Right? A lot of them are just fear-based clouds that that they're just going to pass. They're not going to really hurt you, right? Sometimes we make things bigger than they are. Ask yourself what is real, right? Decide for yourself what you want to feel. And that goes back to the intention setting journaling in the beginning of the day, right? Sit down and ask yourself, what do I want to feel today? How do I want to behave today? How do I want to show up this day? Right? And then reflect with curiosity rather than judgment. Right? So just remember that you are not your thoughts. You are not your brain. Your brain is just one part of you. It is a tool. Your heart, your gut, your liver, your hands, they're tools. You are not your thoughts. And you can be an observer of your thoughts. You can observe your thoughts. I mean, how often have you felt like you're talking to yourself, right? Because you've got your ego brain, and then you've got your subconscious, and then you got your superconscious, and you got all these different voices in your head, and you feel crazy because of all these different voices. You can be the observer of yourself. You can be the observer of your thoughts. It's a beautiful, beautiful practice. And wrapping it right back again to memoir writing. Okay. I found memoir writing and I put pen to paper and I recognized that I had significant amount of power in this idea that I could see myself in a different way. I could shift my perspective. I could excavate from my own story to be able to pull out what I needed to understand, what I needed to know, so that then I could move forward with clarity and therefore understand who I was and what I really wanted so that I could begin moving in alignment, right? I was clear based off of, oh my gosh, that's where all of this was formed, how all of these different experiences have shaped me. And I was able to do this in a way that I was actually able to see huge chunks at a time. Memoir writing is themed writing, right? So I was able to look at just, my money story or my body story or, the story that came with my relationships and love or motherhood or all the different things that come with relationships. And I was able to just pick these different parts of my story one at a time and kind of see them from that bird's eye view, see them from the writer's perspective rather than from that person I was as I was living in that space and time, right? I'm going back. I'm seeing things from an entirely different view now. And so I was able to do metacognition through this practice, which is also shadow work. Like I said, if you haven't listened to last week's, go back and listen to last week's. But I think that's it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me in the Caim Circle today. Until next time, please stay curious, stay present, take care of your mind, and join me in the Caim Circle membership, or join me in in my signature memoir writing program. Reach out, ask questions, get curious, take care of yourself, step into awareness, practice this metacognition. And if you have questions, reach out. I'm here. I, as always, am sending you so much love. I'll see you next week.